You know what I mean?
I mean, Looney Tunes did it in a more endearing way, where George Lucas just straight up has people be like, "No," like I don't know about that one.
I don't know, man. It was. I didn't notice it until people pointed it out. That's all I'll say.
Jabba. What's his name? A big stereotype of a Jewish big
Oh,
nose. What's his name?
oh,
Guado.
oh,
Guado.
yeah, Watto, Watto.
Watto. Watto. Yeah, money slave, you know. Annie. Little Annie.
This is the thing. It's like people
I love the
pointed it out.
prequels.
People pointed it out, and I'm like, I hate you guys because those were great fucking voices. In my, well, I was a kid. I was naive. I didn't know fucking anything. You know what I'm saying? But once you
Mm-hmm.
point shit out, you're like, well, I mean, yeah, you can kind of say that's like a weird. He's doing like a weird Jewish accent, but I don't know. Watto does have a really big nose. Like that's you can't hide that, you know. But
who's the guy that races Anakin in the pod race? The best racer in the pod race?
oh god, it's like I'm just waking up. What is this guy's name? I'm
I
so
I'm
mad. Saboba.
I'm yeah, damn it.
Yeah.
Joe, I'm so mad at Saboba.
Can't stop me, baby.
Yeah. You know, it took me forever. I can't. Uh, what's the monster that lives in Jabba's palace?
Which one? There's like billions.
Uh, the monster underneath Jabba's palace.
The Rancor?
I thought that was the Snow Yeti
Oh,
for a while. Do you know what remember the Snow Yeti's called? It
it's,
always he always forgets me. It's something that I'm always like, oh, I forgot about. That. I forgot it was called.
yeah. And then when I hear the word, I'm like, yeah. How could I? How
Oh
could
yeah, I
no,
just do it on the computer. Yeah,
completely forgot. What the fuck is that thing called?
Wampa.
Oh, Wampa. Yeah. It's weird
I
because
always forget.
that's not like the first thing that comes to my head when I see that
Yeah,
monster. I don't know if
yeah.
it's not something like Rancor. That sounds, you know.
So that sounds fucking badass. And not only that, but Wampa is the fruit that you collect in Crash Bandicoot.
Mm.
Wampa fruits. All right. Okay. Okay. You playing anything right now?
Right now, I just finished Diablo, like the beta,
You just finished what?
the Diablo 4. I was playing the open beta.
Get out of here! You're playing Diablo. How you like it?
Oh my god, dude! I am so on board with this game.
Mm,
I've never played a Diablo, so I went back and
yeah.
watched like a whole bunch of YouTube videos. And for the most part, it's pretty simple. It's just like
Yeah.
there's
Stop the big monster.
yeah, there's a world called Sanctuary that the angels created, and the angels and the demons created because they were
Yeah.
so tired of fighting each other.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, shit happens. It's literally like angels versus demons.
Yeah.
And Diablo
What
is
about the
actually
gameplay?
the gameplay is pretty good. That's my only gripe with it so far. I just feel like, is it supposed to be this easy? I was playing on a super easy level for obviously because I was a beginner, so I clicked like beginner.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I was just like mashing my power buttons or whatever and like killing people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, yeah, that's how Diablo is supposed to be. It's supposed to be pretty easy in the beginning, and then maybe I don't know if it gets harder towards the end, but for the most part, the gameplay was just kind of like, all right, here's some powers. I played Necromancer, so I had a whole army of the dead.
Oh, I haven't got a chance to play that because that's the new thing in
Yeah,
Diablo.
so cool. Yeah, really enjoyed it. The opening cinematic for that is like I looked it up online. That's how good it was. I had to go and see who's doing this. Like I don't understand. Like how did you produce this? They were inspired by heavy metal, and it's the most metal intro. Have you seen it?
For Diablo 4?
Yeah,
Is that the one with the Lilith being born?
yeah. And there's like
Yeah.
4 treasure hunters.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my god, dude. Just
Uh,
love like when they're trapped in that tomb
mhm.
and the guy's like, "We can't be here. We can't be here." And all you hear in the guy's like, "What do you like?" The people who are there who are like the treasure hunters are like, "What are you talking about?" And you hear this demonic ass like deep fucking voice. It's a gate. I'm like, "Oh my, what was that?" Like
Blizzard
ah,
has an amazing animation studio.
yeah. But yeah, I can't wait till June for this game to drop. It's gonna be my first Diablo game, and I'm gonna fucking pour my soul into it. Pun intended.
Are you saying that because now it's an Xbox property?
I mean, hopefully, if
Hey!
this deal goes through and they put Diablo 4 on Game Pass, boy,
Ay, ay, ay. I've been playing. Well, I started playing The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild,
Yes.
and then Resident Evil 4 remake came out literally like a week after. I was like, oh shit! But I don't like to play games at the same exact time.
Hmm.
Like I mean, like multiple games at the same exact time. So I was just gonna wait till I beat Breath of the Wild, or do a lot in Breath of the Wild to beat it, I guess, and
Yeah.
then hop on Resident Evil 4. And I'm only in the very beginning. I'm in that little first kind of like, which I knew it had to be like a little island. The game is very much like you can go anywhere. Not really. You have to chill on this island for a little bit, and then you get off that fucking island. So I was like, okay, okay. Wow, they really did just make the Legend of Zelda NES 3D.
It's I don't know. It's so weird when I hear people say that because I'm like,
Because because I legit thought there was gonna be at least a go this way kind of thing,
mhm.
and it's literally like, yo, go all the way to the right. Who cares? It's like, where do I go? What do I do? It really felt, and I know that sounds awesome to a lot of people. Trust me, those kind of, you know me. I don't play Skyrim and Fallout. Those things are so intimidating to me. Where those games are just so open. It's like, do whatever. I'm like, it's, uh, but I'm at the very beginning. I'm at the very beginning, and the game is fucking beautiful as hell.
Yeah, I'm
Even the old man that you meet, who turns out to be the king of Hyrule,
yeah.
he's the old man that you meet, like in the original NES, and he gives you the thing to move on with a glider.
So I'm just gonna add on to this. But when this trailer came out and I went online for the online reaction, I was expecting a blowout of like game of the year, 10 out of 10. Oh my god!
Let's give a little context. What are we talking about?
We're talking about the what is it called? Tears of the Kingdom.
This gameplay trailer finally came out from Nintendo for The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. And what are you saying?
Yeah, so I went online just to see the reaction because I knew I was going to be in the minority, and I'm probably still am in the minority. But I was surprised to see a lot more people on my side where they were they were like, "Oh, this just looks like DLC, and why is weapon degradation back?" You know what I'm saying?
Uh huh.
And it's funny because like most of the comments is exactly this point of view that I would say I'm in, where I was like, "This isn't my Zelda, and I'm okay with that." I beat Breath of the Wild, and during that gameplay, I knew I was like, this isn't even remotely close to what I want in the Zelda. It was so I wouldn't say remotely close. It was very close. I do love the exactly what you said, like you come out and it's just go wherever. But the difference between that and say the first Legend of Zelda is that the first Legend of Zelda had temples. Like
That's definitely the big one. Absolutely, I agree.
you could literally like yeah you could it gives you freedom to go in, but you will eventually stumble upon a temple. That's what makes it cool, is like I'm not
Hmm.
supposed to be in this ruins, you know what I'm saying? It's like going into a cave, hitting a rock and accidentally stumbling upon something that was there decades ago, centuries ago. That's what makes it cool. That's what makes it feel like you're exploring.
Hmm.
And it's weird that like most of the comments were this better have temples because so many people are mad that this just looks like a Breath of the Wild clone. That's what I told you. I was like, they're not going to change anything. Like the game, people praised it. People gave it 10s out of 10s. People called it the game of the decade. People put it on their number one list of games of all time, without second guessing themselves. I mean, when you give this game that amount of praise, you're not going to get change in the sequel. You're going to get stuff added onto it.
Yeah.
And yeah, like this is what happened. This is the product that people want to play. I'm okay with it because I'm willing to wait for the Zelda game that I like, the Ocarina of
Hmm.
Time, and linear storytelling and temples and artifacts, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm willing to wait. I like that people enjoy this, but this isn't my style of Zelda. I was disappointed to say the least.
I 100% saw that online too, which is, I guess I haven't, I just started playing Breath of the Wild, and I know anyone listen to this, but like, did this motherfucker just start playing Breath of the Wild when Tears of the Kingdom's around the corner? It's like,
Yeah,
yeah, I had
and a real
fucking no
close.
money, where I had no money or time or anything, but now I do. And yeah, definitely what I've seen from the internet from a lot of people, yeah, saying that, yeah, like exactly what you said. This game looks like Breath of the Wild, but we obviously all know that it's not the exact same like Hyrule. They might have changed a little things here and there, but it doesn't feel like it is enough to make us all feel like this is a big enough sequel to Breath of the Wild. And not only that, but if this came after Breath of the Wild, this game's been in development for 5 years now. So their big, I guess, push for 5 years right now hasn't really. Again, they didn't show everything. They don't. It's just this little gameplay things like 3 minutes. There's probably so much more that we don't know, but it does. Yeah, from what I could see, it definitely does feel very similar to Breath of the Wild.
The
All right,
radical new change is this ability to warp different things together, uh,
Fuse,
fuse things exactly like you can ride a motorcycle. It just it feels so, you know,
not enough.
I wouldn't say well, yeah, a lot of people were saying 6 years for this, but for me, it just feels such a departure from, like, Zelda. I don't know. It seems very gimmicky to me. It's something to change the formula, I suppose,
Definitely.
and I'm sure that there's people who enjoy that, like the Minecraft people and all that stuff. People are gonna make some weird shit,
Yeah, yeah. I
but,
think. Okay.
no, that was my point, is that
Yeah.
people will enjoy it, people will enjoy it, and
Mm-hmm.
we're
Of
gonna see
course, of course.
we're gonna see some really cool customizations and stuff, people
Hmm.
coming up with some cool stuff, and for the most part, that's what I'm excited about. Like, I'm excited for other people to play it and to prove to me that this game is worth playing. Because I didn't play Breath of the Wild until I saw the insane amount of praise that it got, and I thought, you know what, I'll give it my shot. You know what I'm saying? I'll give it a try because so many people, and I'm glad I did because it is a good Zelda game. I think it's a good Zelda game. I don't think it's a good, like, I don't know, like, it's weird because when you stray away from what
Maybe
I
you
think.
would say it's a good game, but not a good Zelda game.
No, I wanna say that, but it's impossible to say that because it is Zelda. Like, there are people who identify this Zelda with exactly what you said, the first Zelda game, and there's other people who didn't grow up with The Legend of Zelda, but grew up with Ocarina of Time, and those people are my people who
Link to the
are
Past.
Link to the Past and stuff like that, where it's like, okay, those are my Zelda games, you know? So it's weird because this formula exists for people who played the OG Zelda games, and they this is the Zelda that they envision in their head, you know?
Hmm.
Whereas I see this and I'm like, I don't know, folks. It looks a little gimmicky. I don't know.
Yeah, this Tears of the Kingdom, which I definitely we all know that there's no way this game's gonna come out and just be like, nah, wasn't good enough. Like, no, we know this game's gonna slam dunk and be really good. But I don't think it's gonna overshadow the original Breath of the Wild.
Fascinating.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think this game's gonna come out and it's gonna be very, very solid, but not be better than the first game. I think
It's
because the
weird.
first game's so new and all the features of us playing in the game, be like you can go anywhere you want and do whatever you want, climb here, climb there, right? That I guess that gameplay feature of just like Breath of the Wild when you first started up and what everyone likes to say about it, right? The appeal of that is now shown. We now know the trick of why we all like it because it was like this. You could do it right now. You have to do something new, and now the only new thing they've shown so far is fusing and picking up stuff and combining stuff. It's like, yeah, but what else is there? Because it can't. There needs to be more than just. Oh, they also have the floating islands, which do look pretty cool. This game desperately needs one really big feature kind of thing. And I know, obviously, we just kept saying it, but man, would dungeons really make this? If dungeons was in this game, this would have been. This could be the greatest Zelda game ever made.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just this is so much. This is so much to take in. Like, I'm seeing him craft a boat and putting like propellers and stuff like that on this boat, and it's wild. This is such a wild. This is literally nuts and bolts.
Yeah, but I still think this is very such a tiny surface level what I bet we're gonna be doing.
The temples is definitely going to come in super clutch if it's on there.
Man, temples would be so fucking cool. I truly
Uh,
think so. Well, it's like you said with Breath of the Wild. Like Breath of the Wild was a different formula than it went back to the original formula, like like the Legend of Zelda NES and Link to the Past and Link's Awakening. Very much open, and you have to go find, and it's not as linear as the other Zelda games. So until Ocarina comes out, and it's like it is a linear path, and there's all these dungeons, but all the dungeons have different settings, and you get different weapons in each one. It was like a perfect thing, a perfect way to be like, oh, here it is. This is the future of Zelda, and it just kept running with that. But we did have that for fucking like what 10 Zelda games, like
yeah, to the point where it got super predictable. The puzzles
yeah.
were super easy. I mean, yeah, like it got stale, obviously, you know.
So I don't blame him going backwards.
Yeah, I don't blame them trying to reinvigorate the franchise because it's their titular titles, you know. But no, that's where I stand on it. I'm cautiously optimistic. I know that this game is gonna get tens out of tens because every Zelda game, no matter how bad it is, And trust me, it blew my mind that people thought Skyward Sword was a 10 out of 10. And I saw all those reviews saying Skyward Sword was 10 out of 10. And I was like, that's what made me so jaded when it came to like Nintendo titles. I was like, how the fuck could you guys play Skyward Sword and give this 10 out of 10? How the fuck is that possible? And then when Breath of the Wild came out and people were giving it 10 out of 10, perfect game of the decade, stuff like that, I was like, I don't know, man. And even with this game, like when this game comes out and I see all the reviews giving this game perfects,
Yeah, you just gotta wait till you gotta play yourself to make a
exactly.
which everyone has to do that. Everyone has fucking Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritics and all that stuff. Play the game and make your own damn decision.
But it is super annoying to see that stuff. I don't know what it is. It's like, man, can we stop? Can we judge this game based on the game itself and not its legacy?
Yeah, definitely. Will you be playing Tears of the Kingdom though?
Oh yeah. It's not. I'm not gonna play it like day one. I'm gonna wait till I see, just like I did with Breath of the Wild. I'm gonna wait and see how
Yeah.
the game is received. Take everything with a grain of salt, and eventually I'll play it and give it my own critique. But it's I know from watching it and from playing Breath of the Wild that I know from the jump, and I knew this with Breath of the Wild going into Breath of the Wild that this wasn't going to be my Zelda, and I had to be okay with that. And I judged it basically on that. And yeah, like I said, I think Breath of the Wild is a 7 out of 10. People over exaggerating, giving it perfect scores. I'm like, no way, folks. This doesn't even have dungeons in it, and you're gonna give it 10 out of 10? Are you nuts? But yeah, I'm excited for this one. I'll play it. Why not?
Cool. Segueing into one place that we won't be seeing The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom would be E3, because today, like literally, maybe like 2 hours ago, I think. Man, E3 was just straight up canceled. E3 2023, not like E3 in its entirety. E3 2023 is canceled. It would be the first in-person E3 since 2019, and it was all set to start in June 16th. And so many people backed out, man. It first started with a big three, Nintendo. We even talked about this in a previous podcast. So started with the big three with Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft dipping, like getting out of there. And we were all like, okay, but we still got like Ubisoft, Sega, like all these other big ones. But then Ubisoft left, and then I think Sega was the one after that, and then EA was like, I don't think I'm gonna make it, and then they just straight up 2 hours ago they just confirmed that E3 would be canceling the showcase for 2023, and that is it for E3 for this year. Do you think this is the nail in the coffin? Do you think this is it for like E3? I know this is just for 2023, but like, how many E3s can we? I think it's been since 2019 that E3's been like a thing. They keep trying to make it be something, but fuck.
I think E3 will eventually come back. There'll be a few years where we don't have E3 and they'll try and bring it back, and it'll be like, a relic of the past that we all enjoyed, and we'll celebrate it and we'll enjoy it. But for the most part, is it staying like every single year like it was before? No way. We're so past that. And it's so weird because it was the one thing that us in the 2000s, like the early 2000s, E3 was so important. It was like the mecca of like everything gaming. One day where you got all your gaming news.
Mm-hmm. It was like
But
the
I
Super
remember,
Bowl.
yeah, I remember in the earliest, when we tried to see it online, just trying to connect to the stream was impossible because it was so laggy, and it was like, man, we can't see nothing. Like everything's so choppy. Like now you could watch it on Twitch like it's nothing. But back then it was like, man, it was like trying to fix, the cable. Yeah, we live in a time now where every company's doing their own thing, and that's okay.
I think they all just realized, we
Honestly,
can
I
we,
dig that
we
better.
can all do our own thing. Like, and why waste all this money and time and going through these regulations for E3 when they realize that we can do just as big as E3 if we just did it our fucking selves.
Exactly. Like I like the idea of having giving the creators their own say in it instead of like, hey guys, I know you guys just started developing this game, but we have nothing to show at E3. Can you give us like an Elder Scrolls trailer real quick? I know the game's like maybe 5 years down the line, but we really need to show them something or they're gonna kill us. And those moments happen.
There is something to be said that about E3 having to be a deadline for developers, which I did miss. There was a time where E3 was around the corner and be like, it's been like 2 years. Where's this fucking game? And then E3 is around the corner, and then they be like, it's finally gonna be here at E3, because they realized that E3 was the place. It was like the place that everyone got ready. All the big fucking top dogs are there. Think about that. There's like, think about the idea of like Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, then Ubisoft and Sega and EA and all these other companies. Yeah, Bethesda, like all of them in one fucking convention center, essentially just pitching their games and their features and everything. And you can just go over to Nintendo booth and see all their cool shits and all the lines to wait for a fucking bunch of games.
Yeah, and I know people don't like the whole console war thing, but man, was there like that's what made E3 like a little bit more fun as a kid because
Oh, here we go.
it was like Xbox goes first. Oh man, we got to show off real quick because PlayStation's going last. Like we have to show our best guns, and it just
It was like football.
it
It
literally
really was the Super Bowl for gaming. Like,
it fueled that like console war mentality of like, okay, we're going first.
I mean, who won E3 was a common phrase.
Yeah, who won E3? Exactly. Like, people don't want to talk about console wars and stuff, but my God, when you put everyone in the same building and everyone's showing off their dicks, and it's funny because we would have never had that insane PlayStation 4 straight dunked on Xbox One moment.
Mhm.
The way PlayStation did, like PlayStation won that generation off that E3, no question. Just straight up pummeled Xbox for a whole generation when we were the ones on top, just based off that E3. That's where it stemmed from.
Well, I want to say just at E3. Xbox had a little bit of hand in it too.
No, but because of their terrible E3 showcase.
Oh, I get what you're saying because it like weighs in also on Xbox with Sony's E3 press conference.
Yeah, because they went first. They gave a terrible showing of the Xbox One, and it gave PlayStation, who went dead last. They were the last ones. And I remember being like, oh no, this is. And the presentation too, like the theater that they were in, it was just like, oh no, like PlayStation's just gonna dunk on them. And they did, they straight up, here's how we
Yeah.
share games. Yeesh.
There is gonna be a little thing about E3 being it's super nostalgic, but throughout the years they've just been doing stupid practices and decisions that companies like Sony was the first ones to get the hell out of there. They're like, "Oh, we're out of here, we're done here."
Nintendo?
Nintendo stopped doing press conferences like the theater, but they would go to E3 and still have booths and demos and stuff like that. But their showcase, their press conference,
Mhm.
was just gonna be digital. It was just like a pre-recorded thing.
Yeah.
But they were still being at E3. Like they were still at E3 and you can go to their booths and play their games. Sony was like the first one to be like, nah, we're out. No press conference, no booth, no nothing. We're just done. They did that around the time when E3 started letting the fans just buy tickets to go to E3. When it used to be kind of like the press would come in. The journalism actually would come in.
Yeah.
And Sony was just like, now we're like, I'm not saying that's the cause why they got backed out. It was just, I guess they just realized too, like, let's just do our own thing, you know?
They got out of hand, I think, when they started introducing or letting people go to E3.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like that next level of like having fan interaction. But yeah, you hear a lot of people who are in the industry being like, Jesus, it's just so crowded and we can't get anything done.
That's all I ever hear about E3. Like everyone I always hear about E3, everyone's like, it's like the Super Bowl. Everyone who actually goes there. Me and Joe have never gone to E3, but all I ever hear from E3 is just straight up everyone be like, bro, it is just lines. All you would do, everything looks gorgeous. Don't get me wrong. These companies go all out. Like sometimes, like Capcom does like a whole Resident Evil booth where it's like the actual like house and shit. Like it's the Smash Bros section would have like sandbag and stuff. It looks gorgeous, you know.
Yeah.
But it really is just lines, man. Just lines and lines waiting like an hour to play a game for 2 minutes and be like, "What's your impression?" And then you're like, "I don't fucking even know." Like I played it for like it looked pretty. And when they realized that, I bet companies like Sony and Microsoft and all these Capcom realize that we can control this in a better way now. And where just this week, Bandai Namco just had people, actual journalism, like actual journalists who play fighting games, invited them over to their headquarters to play Tekken 8. And they got first impressions and they got to play it there and got to look at. They couldn't record their gameplay, but just they go back home and then those creators make the content to tell them what they felt like a play on. You know what I mean? Like you could just do it in a more simple way and do it at their headquarters. It's not like this whole thing.
A natural evolution. But
Yeah.
man, like, there is that soft spot of like, well, we won't have those
Oh yeah, there's definitely a magic in E3.
there's a magic there, but we haven't had that magic in a long time.
Yeah.
So it's better for, us to put it behind us and let the creators put it out when it's ready.
Or just wait till Jeff Keighley does something big with Summer's Games Fest, because this guy's just desperately trying to make that a big deal. He's had some years where it was like, okay, that's pretty cool. You got some exclusive like announcements, but nothing ever too big like an E3 kind of moment.
Yeah.
Do you think this is the nail in the coffin? Do you think E3 is dead for next year? You think the ECA is just going to officially be like, we're done, no more E3?
Yeah, yeah. Microsoft was the last ones holding on. So when they decided not to do it this year, that's when I was like, yep. Yeah, that's it.
Goodbye. If Microsoft's buying a shovel, then yeah, we're
If Microsoft said they're done, and it's funny because we have evidence that they don't like they're moving towards just having a digital showcase. I forget what it was.
developer direct. I think it was.
Yeah, something like that. It was like their own Nintendo Direct this year, and that was seamless. That was beautiful. Got the point across. I was like, yes, and all
And
in
the
a matter of
presentation was fire.
presentation was fire. It was short. Yeah, watching that, I was like, what is the need for them to do an E3? There's no need.
And Sony's kind of done like 3 things, I guess. It's kind of like all over the place, but Sony has like their State of Play, which is like their Nintendo Directs, which I know we keep making references to Nintendo Direct, but they were the first ones to do a digital pre-recorded video, and it turns out it could totally work. And Sony did that with their State of Play, but it's not usually really big titles. It's mostly just like just getting some news and some game info out there and stuff like that. There are some drops like Resident Evil. Yeah, Resident Evil 4 remake was announced at the State of Play. Then Sony has the PlayStation Showcase. That's the one where they show off like hardware and just like multiple. So that's the one where they showed off God of War Ragnarok, the New Horizon game. You know what I mean? Like it's like their big video thing.
Yeah.
And then I think in 20, oh man, I think it was like 2017. They had a thing called the PSX, which that was like their E3. Like they actually had like a place you can go to. They had booths and lines and shit like that. But they haven't done that in a long time, so I don't know if that's even still a thing. But in a nutshell, everyone's just doing their own thing.
Yeah, it's great.
What's your favorite E3 moment?
Man, favorite E3 moment? It was probably the Shigeru Miyamoto coming out with the Master Sword.
Oh
That was
my
E3.
god.
That was E3, right?
Yeah, that was for the
Twilight Princess.
Twilight Princess from I think it was. Did they announce the Wii yet? I don't think they announced the Wii at that time. It was just the next evolution of the next Zelda game.
Yeah, because I remember that was that's where my knowledge of video games. I started learning the players, who was behind the scenes. I knew who Shigeru Miyamoto was and all that stuff, and I was in it, baby. And that was like the first E3 where, yeah, oh my god, 2004.
2004.
Yeah, it was just absolutely. Oh my.
I don't think the Wii was announced yet. I think this was still on like coming to GameCube, and then like a year later the Wii was gonna be. They announced the Wii and everything.
What a moment.
I would argue that this is Nintendo's biggest E3 moment.
Yeah.
I don't think they've ever topped this.
I just remember seeing it as a kid and just flipping out. Like, I was like, that's the guy who created Mario. Oh my god.
Rub your life. He's got a sword. I remember I didn't get it because I didn't play Zelda like that. But man, you know he was gassed because, I mean, if there was one place to do something like this after coming off of Wind Waker and the entire world was like, what's this kiddish like baby art style shit? And then you just showed off like this realistic Lord of the Rings Link. Yeah. And then he shows up on stage being like, yo, Zelda's back, bitch. Like of course. Like,
absolutely my number one E3 moment.
My number one E3 moment. Trying to think. I do really like the one you brought up with the PlayStation 4 because that was just like,
yeah,
that was good.
I just remember like it was the last one. They were the last to go, and I just remember like this isn't good. And Sodu loves Xbox.
Ooh, definitely one of my favorite moments was at Microsoft's E3 2019 Cyberpunk 2077 Keanu Reeves. That was fucking fire. Yeah, like he was at the top of the game everyone was in love with him. And then this game that we were all gonna play before the game actually did launch, and it was kind of buggy.
Disclaimer.
But we were all gonna play this game, and then to top off, Keanu Reeves was in this game, and then Keanu Reeves is at E3, like he's actually there. I remember just being blown away. I was like, "This is not fucking real! Holy shit!"
Then we got
it was fucking awesome.
You're breathtaking.
Yeah, it was fucking awesome. Absolute highlight. I don't know any other way to transition to this, so just jumping right into it. What's going on at Marvel? What is going on at Marvel? I feel like someone, because Bob Iger just got Bob Iger, the previous CEO of Disney. He's a guy who like retired and wrote a book and goodbye everybody. And they got a new guy in there. His name was Bob something. Bob something was in there, right? And man, he was in there for maybe 2 years. And the shareholders and everyone's like, get the like they were like not having it. And then they got Bob Iger to unretire, which I have never heard of in my entire life, and come back in. And I feel like they're just trying to clean up this messes and everything. The first news story I guess I could talk about was like they just straight up fired the CGI president. It's like this woman named Victoria. She's a CGI boss of Marvel, and they just straight up fired her out of the blue. That she had no idea. I was just like, and that one took me by super surprise. You almost never hear shit like this. It's usually like some cover up kind of thing, or like something where it says like she's stepping down or some shit. Like they were straight up get out.
Honestly, my opinion on that is good riddance. Like coming with the hella hot takes. No, it's not even a hot take. It's like there's literally like visual effects houses that don't want to work with Marvel anymore because of the crunch and because of the amount of work that Marvel Studios demands them to make in such a short period of time. It's like, hey, if you want us to pump out some mediocre shit, you're gonna get mediocre shit.
Yeah.
Like, look at Ant-Man and Ant-Man Quantumania. That was just a muddied.
That was just a dirty film. It looked like a PS3 game.
Exactly. And if that's the quality of content that Marvel is producing under Victoria, what's her last name?
I'm so bad at names.
It's
Alonso?
Like, right? Alonso or something, right? Victoria.
Yeah.
Alonso. Oh yeah, if that's the quality of work that's coming out of her.
She's the one, like she's the head. She's the woman that looks at these stuff and says, "Yeah, put it through." This movie costs, I don't know, $300 million to make. That looks good. I'm like, the fuck, like.
Exactly. Like it's time to rein it in, folks. If Ant-Man Quantumania didn't hit the benchmark that Disney wants in a Marvel movie, you have to rein it back in and figure out what's wrong. And the main point that people didn't like about Quantumania was that it looked terrible. You and me were okay with MODOK. Like I was okay with MODOK, but there's
a shit ton more though. Not just in Quantumania. Fucking Disney Plus shows. Oh yeah, fucking Thor Ragnarok,
Black Widow.
Fucking the one that's egregious to me that I was like, what the hell was in Thor Ragnarok, where the son of Heimdall, where he speaks through him and like he kind of has like this vision Skype thing with the son of Heimdall. I don't know if you remember the scene where Thor's like, oh, it's Axel, whatever. It's like some young kid, and he's the son of Heimdall, and he's having like this projection with him, and you could see the face, right? And it looks atrocious. It was so bad. I was in the theater being like, oh my god, that looks terrible. And the entire internet ripped that one a new one. I was like, how did that get passed? They actually had to fix it.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
It was so bad where they actually had to fix it when it came out on Disney Plus. And I tell you the truth, on Disney Plus, it doesn't look that fucking great either.
Yeah.
Like it was atrocious. I remember being like, what in the shit? And she is fucking gone, and I'm very glad for that. Turns out Kevin Feige was behind. I want to say behind. I don't know if it was like he was like the one.
I don't know if he apparently like they go back 21 years. She was one of the founding fathers, I guess, of the MCU. So I'm sure Kevin is. I'm sure it wasn't Kevin's idea at all. I think this went higher than Kevin.
I agree with that, but he did say that he was very upset with just the approval of the CGI's work that they were getting done, and he was like, "This is not okay. This is not acceptable." Now I don't know if he was the one who was like, "Get her out of there." Like, no. But I do think, yeah, you're right. It may have been someone higher up to be like, no, she's gotta go. She's been here for 2 years, and now it's I don't know about that. I try to look that up. I don't know.
Yeah, look up.
Victoria Alonso.
Yeah, look up Victoria Alonso sues MCU.
There's nothing here that says anything about her suing. I can't fucking trust comic book. Get me out of here. But anyways, let's go back to the topic. Yeah, no, I'm really glad if they could start cleaning up this. I mean, there's a shit ton of things the MCU has to do right now to fucking get shit fixed around here. But because when I saw the reception on the internet from everyone's saying good riddance. Like everyone was so ready because it's a glaring thing that I've seen. Even the most casual MCU fans have been like, why the fuck does She-Hulk look like that? Like I can't even watch it. Yeah. I don't think she looks that bad, but there's some people who are out there who be like, what the hell? And I think that MODOK definitely pushed people out of there so badly.
it's a nugget of what's really bad with the MCU right now. I would say, yeah, a good percentage of it is the CGI, but it's mostly storytelling too.
Oh yeah, come on. We're fucking. How much time you got? We're gonna be here all day if we have to talk about what's wrong
Exactly.
with the MCU. But a good start that I've seen already on the internet for people being like, all right, this is a good start. It's hearing that the boss of the CGI is gone and they're gonna try to get some new people in there. I'm like, good, let's do that. Like that sounds like a good start.
Yeah, I love that
Um,
there's repercussions for people not going to watch a Marvel movie. Like that is great. It's not like the 343 where people are just gonna be there
yeah,
forever, you know?
or Warner Brothers.
Exactly.
Um, and on the next big news thing to come out of the MCU was Disney just fired their chairman of Marvel Entertainment, Ike Perlmutter, I think his
Yeah.
name is. This guy was like, he was literally the chairman of Marvel, and he had a lot of say in what was going on, and not just the MCU, but all kind of like Marvel content, even from like the theme parks and whatever else that comes through Marvel. And they got rid of his ass. He was the guy who wanted to get rid of Kevin Feige.
Yeah. Well, from what I
Yes.
heard, he didn't really have that much say in the MCU.
Really?
In the beginning, he did with the whole trying to get Kevin Feige canned, but then they moved him to Marvel Entertainment. That's why I thought he got fired because I didn't hear anything from him for years. And now hearing that he got fired off of Marvel Entertainment, I'm like, damn, he was still in that bitch. I had no idea.
This is from Collider. I don't know if it's all super accurate, but it says here that he was one of the main pushbacks on the reason Black Panther, Black Widow, and Captain Marvel movies weren't happening. Like
Yeah,
even in Phase 3, where they were like, why? I remember in Phase 2, Kevin Feige was like, what's our most asked question ever? It isn't when's Iron Man 3 or when's Captain America 3. It was, when are you going to do this superhero? When are you going to do this superhero? When are you going to do this superhero, right? And even I was wondering that too. I'm like, when are we getting these superheroes, right? Of course, there are people who are pushing it back because if Kevin Feige was in charge, man, would have given us all these characters in a heartbeat. But this reading the sentence, I absolutely believe that because I remember reading articles of there being pushback for Black Panther and Captain Marvel. I don't know about Black Widow, but I remember that. And the other one that I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, this guy wanted to fucking fire Kevin Feige. That would have been like, I actually think that guy would have gotten killed. Like someone would have found that guy and fucking kill him in his house. I don't condone that, but I'm just saying, like, holy fuck.
One of the best producers in Hollywood history, period. And you're trying to fire him? Are you nuts?
That's crazy, bro.
When
your competition, when all the other competitions, like from Fox and Paramount and everyone who have their own big producers and those companies like studios, and they're all telling you Kevin Feige is the man. Like,
yeah, it's literally that scene in Dark Knight with Lucius Fox, and you want to sue this man? Like, what was it?
Yeah,
it's literally that scene. It's like,
yeah.
Good luck, like
Good luck.
one of the best producers in history, and you're trying to like go after him.
Oh, blackmail.
Yeah, you're trying to blackmail him. Like,
and I would agree, man. This is another one of those things that I'm like, this is a good direction. But they did say that the position that he was in now is going to be split up into 3 positions now. I think one's like the Disney Plus and streaming service, Hulu, kind of like, I guess, digital route. The other one's the theme parks. One's in charge of the theme parks, and another person's in charge of, I guess, I forgot what it was. I wish I could, it doesn't say it here. One thing I do know is that they did split up this guy's position into 3 positions, which I think is a good move too.
Yeah. In terms of the MCU, his firing didn't really shock me because once that came out of him trying to fire Kevin Feige, I'm sure he got knocked down several pegs, and that's when I was like, okay, doesn't matter. Like, this guy was like supposed to be fired years ago, and it doesn't really impact the MCU the same as Victoria Alonso. But yeah, good riddance. I'm sure Marvel Entertainment, that whole side is like ecstatic that they don't have someone as toxic as this like Hollywood elite guy coming in and trying to like,
Yep. And someone else that we have no idea who's toxic or
this
or
is one, baby.
This one's
yikes. It's a little touchy. Touchy.
What's going on? Break it down.
Oh, you want me to break it down? Okay. So the guy who plays Kang the Conqueror, Jonathan Majors.
He's also starting Creed 3.
Also in Creed 3, yeah.
Also showed up at the Oscars.
Showed up at the Oscars. Huge. I mean, this is Hollywood's next guy. There's a quote that says that he and Michael B. Jordan want to be the next Al Pacino and Robert De Niro of the next generation in Hollywood. When I heard that quote, I was like, I am so on board.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. That sounds...
Are you kidding me?
I was like, yes, absolutely. So yeah, he went to jail. He went to jail for apparently hitting his girlfriend in New York City. So the reason it's touchy is because we don't have a lot of the information. And as I speak right now, I don't want to say anything because we
We
don't
don't know
know
how
the story.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, we don't know how it's gonna turn out.
we don't know how it's going to turn out. And I will say that there's only one thing that will convince me if this guy should be canned or if this guy should stay with the MCU and apparently his career. And it's the video footage that's in the cab
Yeah.
or testimony from the cab driver.
Hmm.
I need to know what happened in that cab, you know,
Yeah.
because there's a lot that happened so far, you know,
Yeah.
and we're getting bits and pieces of the information, and I don't know.
Yeah. To give it a little more context to low structure, it definitely, I know we're sounding like this is like some giant major thing. As of right now, like you said, like Joe said, we don't have that much, there's not that much evidence of it so far. But what did happen was that he was in New York City, he was in the back of a taxi, and he was with his girlfriend. She wanted to see his phone, and he was like, "No, you're not seeing my phone." And they kind of got in a little scuffle, like, pushing each other and stuff like that. And then she allegedly said that he I don't did he say strangle? I think he said strangled her to push her away essentially. And then the taxi guy was like, "Yeah, what the fuck," and everything, right? And then I think Jonathan Majors calls the cops.
That's my thing. Is it's
Yeah.
initially we heard that there was domestic violence that occurred in a cab in New York City.
Yeah.
Jonathan Majors goes to jail.
We have to remember though also too is that when the cops show up, it doesn't matter male, female, whatever, right? If the woman is telling the cops that he assaulted me and this is what happened, they're gonna
Yeah, under New
yeah,
York
that's
law, you automatically go
yeah,
to jail. It's like do not
yeah,
pass go, do not collect 200. You're
yeah.
going to jail.
They went home that very night too. It's not like they spent the night or anything. Both of
Exactly.
them.
So once the articles hit, then people were ready to
Yeah.
dunk on this man. Uh,
Actually, no, I didn't see that much. I respect the. I actually, for the first time I ever heard, respected. I wasn't on Twitter, thank God, but I guess just everywhere else where you can get your news and stuff, we're ready to because I think people do like Jonathan Majors. I think other people are ready to see. Do like Jonathan Majors, but are they're not automatically gonna be okay with domestic violence. No, if this man's guilty, then of course, like take away his privilege. But we do like Jonathan Majors, and everyone's just waiting to not put him on the cross just yet. To very much be
oh
like
yeah, no.
it's
When
innocent until proven guilty.
yeah, when I say people were ready, I'm specific. I should have rephrased that, but yeah, you're right. I did see a lot of people kind of pull back and like wait, like wait.
Yeah,
People were waiting when Disney was like waiting, because usually Disney has like a knee jerk reaction, just fires James Gunn for tweets.
yeah, yeah.
Nope, nope, nope.
Oh, and
Uh,
also for the record, Jonathan Majors, like publicist and agent, like his people immediately came out and said that the accusations were false, and we're working right now to clear his name. So
yeah,
they're
and they
they're
said
right on top of it.
irrefutable evidence that he's innocent. If
Hey, look
they
at the
do,
article's title right now.
yeah,
For the record, the article says Jonathan Majors' lawyers released text message from this just happened today, like a couple hours ago. The
have
Jonathan
you?
Majors' lawyers releases text message that
Can
he claims the woman was taking blame for the fight. So
I
right
just
now, the girlfriend because they are in a relationship, him and his girlfriend. It looks like when shit hit the fan, and they talked about video surveillance and witness testimony. She's now kind of pushing back and taking the blame, and the text message, which what I
can
read
can
is
I
her
just say,
saying sorry and stuff like that.
can I just say, like, just to put it in a timeline, because I think this is so important. Like, before the text message, people were
Joe, you're
get,
sweating.
I know, because it's like this is crazy news. This is I have been glued to my phone because this is the biggest Hollywood. If it's true, this is the biggest Hollywood downfall I've ever seen. Bigger than Will Smith wins an Oscar and then just completely.
Really?
I
I
think
don't know
so.
about that. This guy's just been in 2 movies.
This man has been literally, if you could strap a rocket and just shoot this man to the moon, I mean, he was pretty much on the moon, straight, chilling, having a good time.
He's like 2 years away from winning an Oscar. That's how like we're ready.
Yeah. So anyway, like I said, people were holding back. All of a sudden, you get a bunch of people on Twitter who are saying that there's evidence that he had this sociopathic tendencies. People from like the New York theater scene that used to work with him
Oh
said
yeah,
that
yeah.
said that they've seen evidence of him being abusive towards people. And there's a tweet that someone posted a long time ago, like a year or two ago, that said, "I know of an actor who's really big right now and people really love him, but if they only knew what I know," and no one knew who the fuck that guy was talking about. And then this happens, and then someone replied to that old tweet and was like, "Is Jonathan Majors? Is this the guy you're talking about?" He's like, "Ding, ding, 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 ding." Like, that's the guy who I was talking about. But all these people who,
For the record, that is allegedly. That's just there has been no evidence around that.
Oh, no, that's what I'm trying to get at, is that the second that, what's it called, his lawyers came on and said that they have irrefutable evidence that he's innocent, all those people who tweeted all this information, all this like accusations, they deleted their tweets and they put themselves, they
Get the fuck out of here, really?
yeah, they privated their accounts. And for the most part, I will say this: the people who did throw those accusations said that they don't want to say any more because they're not the people who were abused by Jonathan Majors. And they said like, "Oh, I'm only speaking for people who were abused by him. If they want to speak up, they could speak up. But I know what he did." Something like that, to that I'm paraphrasing, but that's what they said. But weird that the second that the lawyers came out and were like, "We have irrefutable evidence that he's innocent," fucking quiet. You could hear a fucking mouse fart. And now we can get into the text messages, because I think those text messages are damning. I think those are that was a really, really bad move on his lawyers. Those text messages make him look awful.
Really?
Have you read them?
Which ones? I would have to read them. Yeah.
It makes him look bad. I don't know.
What did they say?
Yeah, it was to release those text messages, but that does not make him look good. That's why I reiterate: if I don't see that cab footage, this man is gone. This man is gone.
I only read 2 of the text messages. One where she's apologizing, and 2 where here they are. Yeah, these are the 2 I read.
Yes.
Please let me know. Okay.
The first one.
You read it.
Yeah, the first one sounds like his girlfriend. The second one sounds like PR. But there's a certain sentence in here that makes me.
Oh, wait a minute. Are you trying to make it sound like these are doctored?
No. I'm not throwing any crazy accusations, but I'll just read it. All right. So the first text message: "Please let me know you're okay when you get this. They assured me that you won't be charged. They said they had to arrest you as protocol when they saw the injuries on me, and they knew we had a fight." So right off the bat, there's injuries on this girl.
That is damaging, yeah.
There's injuries on this girl. Who knows? Maybe she did it herself. I'm not going to say that she did that, but there are injuries on her when the police showed up. I'm continuing the text. "I'm so angry that they did, and I'm sorry you're in this position. We'll make sure nothing happens about this. I told them it was my fault for grabbing your phone. I only just got out of the hospital. Just call me when you're out." Does that not sound like a domestic abuse victim? I am so sorry you're in this position. I told them it was my fault for me trying to grab your phone. How could you release this like that? When I read that, I was like, he has the dumbest lawyers in the history of the planet. Oh my God.
Well, you would have to understand though, this is his girlfriend text. Like this isn't like he's in a relationship with this girl and she knows how damaging this is to his reputation, and especially now that it's on every article and all this news and everything.
Yeah, but the idea that an altercation has to occur and that she has to say, "I'm sorry for me trying to grab your phone," that doesn't justify Jonathan Majors getting physical with this chick, even if it is his girlfriend. Like, of course not. No.
I mean, I'm saying in the sense of like you're reading between the lines, where I'm reading exactly what it is.
I mean, how can you not? I told them it was my fault.
I guess I don't know text slang. I don't know text message lingo. Yeah,
like that sounds. I only just got out of the hospital. That what? why were you in the well, maybe they needed to send her to the hospital. Oh my
Yeah.
god, like, they were just like, you need to go.
I mean, not only that, but if you're going home, then like an hour later from the hospital,
Yeah.
definitely seems like
But that was the most damning for me is I told him it was my fault for trying to grab your phone. What? So it's your fault he hit you because you went after his phone? Like it's in the text message. And then she replies, I love you. And then the next one sounds very, very PR. Not saying but I'm sure she had someone telling her like, hey, it just hit the airwaves. Like now you gotta like, So here's what she said. They just called again to check on me, and I reiterated how this was not an attack and that they do not have my blessings on any charges being placed. I read the paper they gave me about strangulation, and I said point blank, this did not occur and should be removed immediately. The judge is definitely going to be told this. She ensured this to me. I know you have the best team, and there's nothing to worry about. I just want you to know that I'm doing all I can on my end. I also said to tell the judge to know that the origins of the call was to do with me collapsing and passing out, and your worry as my partner due to our communication prior. Out of care, she promised all will be relayed. Like, that just sounds very PR. No one uses the word to ensure.
She promised that all will be relayed.
She promised that all will be relayed. Like, that was definitely her lawyer being like, give me the phone.
Well, it's true. I don't know this girl. Maybe she does have her own, PR team and stuff, But from what I read from every other article that's writing about these text messages coming out, it's still up in the air though. And no one's reading these and going, "Oh, man's totally innocent. Let him go home." Like, no, we're all still need to know exactly what happened. If he put his hands on this woman, there's nothing. There's no excuse for any of that. He can go away forever. But like we learned from Johnny Depp and the Amber Heard, everyone loves to play the victim and ruin people's careers just because they think they deserve to,
But what's heartbreaking to me is that this is totally the opposite of Amber Heard, where God, I hope it's not the case, where it's her trying to apologize for him beating on her and her trying to stay with this relationship, because that hurts even way more. And it reads like that. She's like, I'm sorry that I told him it was my fault for you grabbing your phone. Like, that just reads like someone desperately trying to hold onto a relationship and knowing that she might have fucked this guy's career up. But that's why I say, if you guys said you have irrefutable evidence, I want to see that cab footage. Like, that's it. That's all. That's the silver bullet,
Smoking gun.
The smoking gun. Thank you. That's the smoking gun. I need to see what happened in that goddamn cab, because that's ultimately what's going to make me change my mind.
That's for sure. I guess, like we all said, there needs to be more evidence for us to come out, and hopefully we can all be respectful enough to understand, what happens, and we all make our own decisions. God damn it, Marvel and Disney are just fucking rocking a hard place right now, getting rid of people, canceling
the entire universe around.
Yeah, Jonathan Majors. He's probably the most important character of the next saga.
Yeah,
I'll have to wait and see. How more of this story unfolds.
I love Jonathan Majors, man. What a talent.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
this is something I desperately don't want to be true. I want this to be like miscommunication. Nothing happened. There actually was no strangulation,
Yeah.
I
think everyone else is on the same boat too, because we've seen Jonathan Majors in interviews, and we've seen we like his acting. We like it, like his way he presents himself. We all could see the potential in this actor. He's a new and upcoming actor, like you said. So we're all like, let's hold off judgment.
All right, this will do it for another episode of Ready 2000 with your boy Joe,
John,
and yeah. Thanks for listening, folks.
That was Joe trying to do an outro.
It works. Thanks, everybody.